kind of a test. I'm just going to see how this goes. But yeah, just trying something a little different. So to be honest, I've got so many cameras now. I went to the Photographica show, which I did a little report on earlier, and I picked up a ton of stuff. You know, nothing was particularly spectacular except for some stuff that I bought separately, but I ended up buying a table full of stuff, and in that table I got all kinds of things like Canon A2s, EOS Elan, I got a bunch of Nikons, like a ton of Nikons, 8008s, the N90S I got, you know, a bunch of Minolta cameras, all sorts of stuff. So I'm not, I kind of almost have too much stuff to really figure out what I want to show you guys. I also have some stuff that you haven't seen, like the Nikon 35 Ti. I have my Hasselblad EL, and there's like just a bunch of cameras that I don't even know where to start. So I'm kind of looking for some guidance from you guys as to what you'd like to see reviews of it, or you know, and if you don't want to give me that, that's fine, and I'll just start picking out cameras and just going through them one at a time. But if you have anything, I'm you know, I guess, you know, I'm just looking to find out what you guys would like to see. But the reason I have this out here is because I haven't really done anything on any Minolta cameras other than the Hymatic 9 and some older stuff. But I've gotten requests to review the Minolta Maxxum 9. I don't have that camera. I am looking for it. But what I did pick up actually just recently is the Minolta Maxxum 7, which actually came after the 9, and it's technically a more advanced camera than the 9 in very many ways. It's not as big and robust, and it's not as designed as much as of a pro camera as the Maxxum 9 or the Dynax 9, but it was definitely a high-end prosumer or a low-end sort of entry-level pro style camera. Came up with a lot of technical innovations that were completely new, and there's still some stuff, I guess, technology in this camera that still hasn't been used. I haven't learned this camera in its entirety yet. I'm still playing with it, but you know, I wanted to give all you Minolta guys some airtime here. So yeah, so it's a pretty cool camera, very technically advanced. It's the Maxxum 7. Sometimes it's called the Dynax 7. You'll see that, I think, more in Europe is where they're labeled as the Dynax 7. But very technically advanced camera. It's, you know, there's no manual winder or anything like that. It's all auto loading. You know, everything's done through menus and controls and dials and stuff, but there's like, you cannot shoot this camera without batteries, period. But the lens I have in here is nothing spectacular. Minolta did make some nice lenses, and you can get Minolta lenses cheaper than most. The Minolta lenses also fit on the Sony Alpha mount, because Sony ended up buying the Minolta camera business. And they kept that mount. So pretty much anything that works on these will work on the newer cameras. Not all of the lenses are backwards compatible, but they are mostly forwards compatible. So this lens could be used on, like, let's say an A99 or you know, any of the newer cameras. So but just kind of getting into this camera a little bit, single lens reflex camera, has a high shutter speed of 1/8000th of a second, which is pretty fast. So you can use some lower apertures in brighter light and still get, you know, a little bit more shallow depth of field. You know, if you want to go seriously, you know, shallow depth of field, you still have to get into an ND filter or something like that. But it does have a green box mode, which is, you know, purely just point and shoot, and it'll do all that. It has a program mode, aperture priority, shutter priority, fully manual. All the knob here is restricted by, you have to push the button in order to turn and select any one of those modes. There is a drive mode switch that's underneath right here, and so you would have like a single shot mode, continuous mode. They have continuous bracketing mode, so if you just hold it, it'll actually bracket shots continuously. It has a single shot bracketing mode as well, and you can set up pretty much how all that works out. Self timer, and then multiple exposure selector, and that's all on this lever just below the selector knob. It does have an autofocus, manual focus selector, so if you're in autofocus and you want to focus and recompose, you can press that and that'll immediately go into manual focus, and you can make fine adjustments either manually using the ring on the front of the lens or just kind of hold your focus to where it is. Exposure compensation dial here on the left hand side of the camera, and again you have to press down the detent to adjust your exposure compensation, and that's up to 3 stops, which is pretty good. The camera has an eye control start, so when you bring the camera up to your eye, it'll immediately focus on that center focus point, so very quick to point and shoot. It has a wide focus selector, so it'll select more within your sight picture of what you're able to focus on immediately, and then you can also pick individual focus points as well. Has an auto exposure lock. You can do spot meter, sort of like a matrix metering, and then a center balance metering. That's all done on this switch here. Diopter adjustment is right here. These 2 little dots are for the when you bring the camera up to your eye, it'll automatically focus. It'll sort of like get the camera ready to go for you so you can shoot quickly. A thumb selector switch here, and then another selector switch here, which can be used by your index finger. So one of these is aperture, and one of these is shutter priority if you're shooting in full manual. It does have a built-in flash, which is right here, and that will pop up in program mode as well. It's I'm not sure exactly how many shots per second it'll actually shoot. I just got an error message here. I'm not sure what that is. Alright guys, well unfortunately this at this point in the video it's kind of a disappointment for me. I had gone through the camera before, but the camera had been working fine, and then at this point I found out that this error kept popping up. It turns out that the Maxxum-7 has a problem with the aperture lever on the inside of the camera, the lever that adjusts the aperture on the lens as you take the pictures. There's a problem with that mechanism right there. This camera unfortunately developed that same problem and is now effectively a doorstop. So it's, you can still use the camera if you shoot wide open and shoot in aperture priority, but not having the ability to change aperture is kind of a big deal on a camera. So yeah, so this is not good. So if you're going to buy a Maxxum-7, double check the camera at all apertures, make sure it's working properly, make sure you can use the camera, and everything is working as it should. So you can go on and watch the rest of the review. It'll give you some information about the camera, but this is something definitely to be aware of. So again, a grave disappointment, but oh well, that's used stuff. So anyway, here's the rest of the review. There we go. Yeah, so it's a pretty fast camera, so I'll set it to, put it on shutter priority, and we'll set that to 1/8000th of a second, and we'll be in continuous mode. And again, I'm not sure how many shots per second it is. I'd say about 4 or 5 shots per second. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it's a pretty quick camera. And if you're going to be doing sports shooting film, I mean, I suppose that's good. It also has a single shot mode, so just the camera is actually pretty quiet. It's not too loud at all. It's kind of a subdued kind of clicks, or sort of a lower tone, and so it's not like a real loud clack clack. It's more of a chunk. Yeah, and there's 3 custom settings, so you can program this to be set up in 3 different sort of programmed ways, which is kind of nice. Very customizable. On the back here, this I think was the first camera to have a dot matrix LCD, so you can change the display on the back to show different modes. So you would have your exposure compensation there. This will also tell you and list what your shots were listed as. And from what I understand, you can download the data off this somehow. I haven't gone that deep into it. I just got the camera, so I don't know that much about it. But you can record stuff, and I think you can download that information somehow, or it's recorded on your film at some point, maybe even on the roll. I'll have to look more into that. But or if anybody out there knows that information, please let us know. But yeah, you can switch between different menu options on the back, which is really kind of cool, and that was definitely a first with this camera. It's also backlit, so it'll sort of glow a nice blue light over the screen there. If you flip this down, this is a magnetic door, kind of same thing as like a R8. It's held open with or held closed with magnets, and you can set your data, your ISO information, date, adjust. You know, and you can customize your features through these buttons here, which is pretty nice. This is sort of a rocker button here, so if you want to select focus points, you would use the rocker. When you want to select the center focus point, you just press that. And down here is the on and off switch for the eye start. So when you bring it up to your eye, it'll automatically start. And then right here is for your film rewind. So if you want to rewind the film halfway between the roll, you also have the option of setting it for leader out when you rewind your film. So if you're doing your processing at home, you can make sure that it leaves the leader out, so you don't have to go fishing for that. Diopter adjustment, like I said. Really, like I said, pretty advanced camera, very fast focusing. It does use phase detect focusing, so it does lock on pretty quickly. Pretty cool stuff. It has single shot, continuous. I'm not sure what the A mode is for the, I think it's just automatic focusing. I don't know. A is for auto, I guess. And then a manual focusing switch, so if you just wanted to do everything manually focus this yourself, you can do that. The lens release is on the left-hand side of the camera. You just press that, turn, and the lens comes right off, and just back on there. Let's see. That seems to give me an error. There we go. Yeah, so I would suggest shutting off the camera before you do that. It seems to throw up an error when you don't. So I haven't shot film through this camera yet. I'm planning to very soon. I'm pretty excited about this. So it's a kind of a neat camera. So that's about it. Sort of a quick overview of this camera. I might come back and revisit it when I've spent more time actually, like really playing with the camera and you know, getting some pictures out of it and seeing how it handles in the field. But wow, what a sort of technological tour de force this thing is. Very, very advanced camera. Oh, there's also, let's see, there was, yeah, you can also set your flash settings for red eye reduction, regular flash, like a fill flash, or rear curtain flash, and I'm not sure what WL is. Have to look that up. But yeah, so this is what I've got. So, and that's all right on the side of the camera, so you just make all those settings. This camera's just loaded with buttons, so like you can do pretty much everything with a button or a switch, which is really nice. I kind of prefer that over having to dig through menus and stuff like that. Although, like I said, you can customize this and you know, set up some custom stuff, and that is done through menus, and that's more of a graphical interface here, sort of on the back. So it looks like my battery's getting low. That might be part of my problem. But so anyway, that's it, and it does have that that great Minolta proprietary hot shoe, which I think is really stupid, but Sony finally fixed that, I guess, with their new line of cameras. So I don't know, but that's that. Anyway, so kind of a cool camera. I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to shoot it. Kind of a fun one. So again, the Minolta Dynax or Maxxum-7. Maxxum-7 we'll call it, or we'll call it the Dynax 7. Pretty neat camera. Not too expensive. You can get them in the neighborhood of about $100. And again, Minolta lenses are relatively inexpensive. And just, you know, good comfortable camera. I have really big hands, so, but everything's sort of like, just kind of like rests where you need it. And I can even mess around with the dial one-handed, just pressing the top button there and just pushing in. So everything kind of falls easily to hand, and it's really a very comfortable camera. So glad I finally got a chance to get one of these. I'm sorry it's not the Dynax 9. Again, still trying to find one of those at the right price. This one was the right price, so I got that. But anyway, that's about it. If you have any other questions, ask, in the comments below. I might not have the answer on it. If I do have the answer, I'll chime in. If I don't, I'm sure one of the good people who watches my channel will help and chime in also. You guys have been great. There's a lot of active discussion I see going on in the videos, and I really encourage that. So, and you guys have been great, very supportive, and I appreciate it. Let me know more what you'd like to see. I did an interview with Abelardo Morel, who's a very prominent photographer, art photographer right now. You know, do you like that kind of stuff? Do you want me to keep doing that? Do you want me to expand into more digital stuff? Do you want to see more film cameras? I'm going to keep going with the film cameras. So just tell me what you'd like to see more of, and we'll see what we can do. And that's about it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Brian, the gas station, old cam review, and it's all photography. So that's about it. Thanks, guys. Take care.